Okay, I'm going to very quickly tour through some of the different objects here that you can draw in sketch mode. Firstly, with a line, you can click on a line and draw like that. If you double click, it stops the line. Okay. If you click and drag, it'll draw a line, from the point you click, and it'll only draw a single segment. So, but like I said, you can, when you're clicking a line, you can, in chain, and you stay in, line mode. Double clicking is the only shortcut for that. So, otherwise, you press the escape key, and you're screwed. Okay. And enter won't get you back into the line command, apparently. So, moving on to the rectangle, you got, of course, your corner point rectangle, which most often we use the midpoint rectangle, so we can draw something from the center line like this, choose its height and width. But you also got these other rectangles, like, for example, if I wanted to draw a rectangle between here and here, okay, that gives me a square at an angle. So, and, we got this, which is a, 3-point center rectangle, and so if you draw, like a point there, okay, that's giving you, center point. So, and then you got the 3-point parallelogram, which allows you to, draw a skewed rectangle, otherwise known as a parallelogram. So, like I said, this one, is a little confusing, because I'm not sure, okay, center, and width, and then length. So that's the center point that I just drew, and then we're going to define the width, which I don't think really makes any sense, because that's really the half width, and then our length. So, and click out of that. Okay, now when it comes to drawing like a 3-point arc, like this one, is a little tricky, but you got that, and you can do that, right? Okay, well, what if I want an arc over here? Well, you come back over it and do it like that. It's a little fussy, though, but now you're in this mode. I think it matters. I don't know how this works. I mean, it's just, I don't know if there's any logic to it or not. At any rate, you can stumble around on this just like that tangent arc trying to draw a line. I mean, I'm not sure what the logic of it is. It seems to toggle. I don't know. Anyway, but for whatever reason, it's actually not as unintuitive as you might think, because it seems to usually do what I'm thinking of doing with it. Like I want to draw an arc along this arc. That's working fine. Okay, and I want to draw an arc from here to here, which is exactly my intent. So, I guess it's only in the weird cases when you want to draw an arc that's almost a complete circle, but I could start this way still and make it a complete circle, kind of like I expect. So I mean, it seems to work okay, despite what that guy was saying in that weird fucked up video with tons of commercials in it. Okay, when you're drawing lines, since nobody's ever really covered this properly, if you come out at an angle, you see all these yellow lines. Okay, well, you can see my little perpendicular relationship that will actually make an actual hard relationship. between these lines, you know, because I'm following these yellow lines. And you can see that right there. I mean, if I go and, you know, click that, you know, what's interesting is this pops up, which is a midpoint. And if I click on that, you know, it'll automatically give me a perpendicular relationship coming off that. So, you know, but so I can come over here, have that be perpendicular, and this, you know, I can find the center point, and you can see that lighting up, so I can attach it like that. So that's kind of interesting. Now if I draw like a circle, okay, and go into my line mode, if I select this, well, hold on a minute. Yeah, I mean, if I come in here with my line and I select that, you know, of course that's giving me an established, you know, quadrant relationship like you'd expect. But if I click my line there, God damn it. This fucking program really pisses me off. Oh, god damn this fucking thing. Alright, this was frustrating, but what happens here, okay, it doesn't matter if a circle's selected or not. If you come from the inside, you know, when you draw your line, you know, you click on it and draw it to the inside of the circle, it just sticks to that point. But if you draw it to the outside, it makes it the line tangent. So, which is quite cool, and that's what I was trying to fucking show you. Alright, another neat little trick is if you happen to have a line, you know, highlight a line before you go to draw a line, you'll see this all pops up. Now if I start drawing a line, you'll see that the yellow highlights there are actually parallel to that line. And same thing, you know, if you have it clicked and you start drawing from that line, you can actually create a perpendicular line. And of course, from there you can keep it perpendicular to the previous line, which makes it parallel to the other line, etc. Okay, you know, when you're selecting objects, you know, like I said, you got several different relations you can theoretically apply to it, but you know, they do kind of weird stuff sometimes. Even if you apply the selected version, you know, that may not, you know, it may not be the best things to apply. Now equal made sense, but anyway, now going into smart dimensions, you know, let's say if I pull the smart dimension off of it, you know, you got these 3 different types you can pull off, you know, but you notice a little mouse icon. If I right click that button, you know, it constrains it to that type of dimension. You know, if I right click it again, it knocks you out of it, but that way, you know, I can put this anywhere I want without it freaking out on me and I'm going to a different location. So, and by the way, this is a little dial, you know, so it allows you to, you know, actually dial it in. I don't know what that's for. Okay, and of course another thing I can do, you know, is I can like, I don't know, select this point and dimension between the two and put like 180 or something like that, okay? But then I can actually come back at a later point and select this dimension. Again, doesn't fucking work like you'd expect it to. Anyway, it's a question of the cursor. Okay, what's the cursor? Okay, if I do that, I'm just going to be moving the circle. But if I do it right there to where you can see the dimension icon pop up, then I can drag the dimension and put it in a different location, like, for example, to that point there. Don't know why these turn pink, but at any rate, the fact of the matter is that you can go, change that dimension if you want, or double click on it, as the case may be. Don't know what that pink means. Anyway. Okay, and then for some reason, if you're doing a smart dimension on this, its default is radius. So, but you can go click on it and go display as radius, display as linear. So because like I said, that switches it between radius and diameter, because it's displaying as the diameter right now. But you can switch back and forth between that, or make it apparently linear. Don't know what that means. And now I can't do anything. I'll display as diameter. Okay. So anyway. Okay, now when you're drawing lines, you got your smart dimension, right? Okay, that's fine and dandy, but you can actually turn that off if you want. Sketch dimension driven, don't know what that means, and then smart dimension, but if I go sketch numeric input, I'm not in that mode anymore. So, but I can turn it back on, by toggling that. So if you ever want to toggle that off for some reason, you can. Possibly a little interesting little tool here is this zoom to selection. So thought I'd mention that. More often than not, when I'm drawing, it makes more sense to, rather than trying to do that stupid arc thing, which gives me all kinds of a headache, and then you can't define your geometry because usually you just know the outside dimensions of it. Like you see here, it's better just to draw it, with straight lines, and then come in and define a fillet with a known radius. That's just, no, I screwed up. Yeah, but, like I said, you want to fill it like 5 millimeters or whatever. So that just shows you that you can, if you're not careful, you can accidentally change the radius of it by dragging it. But anyway, but that's just probably a lot quicker, to do than to, do it the traditional way. Now, now, of course, a quicker way to do that, would have been just to simply, to pre-select the object, like I did there, or go into your fillet command, set your radius, and then just grab it, and then voila, hit enter and you're done. Now you can, come in and just select, using your crossing mouse. I don't even have to press control to do this. So if I just wanted like a few of these, filleted, I could do it that way too. It's just easier than trying to use that stupid continue arc, tangent arc thing. And these, as you can tell, are automatically tangents. So you got a radius of 5 applied to at least one of them. I don't know for sure if that's universal. Yeah, they are, because you got an equal sign applied between these, and an equal sign applied between these. So yeah, these are all equal. So that's what it does. It's got one radius and just equality signs applied. But of course, you can go into tangent and change the radius too, like let's say 10, and then So like, let's make that one 10 and that one 10. Okay, then voila, you know, that's got a radius of 10 applied to it. Again, a lot better than trying to use that. You know, that arc thing is, continuous arc thing is kind of neat, but boy, it's squirrely, and then you have trouble, you know, actually dimensioning your parts. You know, again, oh, god damn it. But again, like we have here, you know, because, you know, I was able to just go draw my geometry, you know, like I did, you know, to the exact dimensions, as opposed to, you know, and I was able to lay out my lines using keyed input, you know, like this, you know. But I couldn't do that, you know, with any kind of precision at all if I was, you know, trying to do it any other way, you know, do it the way with the arcs, you know. In other words, trying to go do this thing, lay out a point, and then trying to back out and make sure it's a circle, and then, you know, and again, just there, I don't know half the time if it's actually going into the mode, you know, and trying to do this, and, you know, and again, no, I'm in line mode still, you know, now it's the arcs reverse, so that's not right. And of course that little fucking reference thing is not working again, so I mean, it's just more trouble than it's worth. Now I'm going to cover this again because this fucking thing fucking went off on me. Somehow, I don't know how the hell it happened, but Jesus Christ. Shit. Okay, if you go into goddamn System Options, Sketch, Relations, and Snaps, be sure to turn the fucking angle snap on. That's what makes it so your fucking circle, you know, will, damn this, you know, will infer what your arc is, you know, from the center point of it. You know, like I said, it's pretty useless without that. And of course I can't get it out of arc mode. You know, that's why I say this whole fucking thing is just useless anyway. Fucking piece of shit. Now again, one reason you may want to turn your numeric input off is if you really do want to use that stupid arc function, it makes it a hell of a lot easier, you know, just by typing A to switch to arc mode. You know, because you can actually switch between it rather dynamically. But again, Solid Edge, I think, did a much better job of implementing this crap than these guys. Anyway,